Hello and welcome. I am Dawn Westphal, your syndicated radio talk host, coming from Asheville, North Carolina, the Blue Ridge Mountains, coming from WPVM FM LP 103.7 Radio Asheville. My show is about resilience. The show has changed. The name is now called The Resilience Realm, where we talk about stories, we get advice from other people. My guest I've known for over 6 years. I was introduced to Robyn Ziegler. Robyn goes by Ziggy. And she has the most compelling, inspiring story of not only going through hard times, but surviving and thriving. Robyn, do you want me to call you Ziggy today or Robyn?
You can either way, whatever you want.
Okay, I'm calling you Ziggy. That's how I was introduced. Ziggy,
Yes.
I could tell everybody about you, but let's get a backstory about you. When I met you in Asheville, North Carolina, tell everybody what you were doing, the kind of work you were doing, and why you left Asheville.
Yes, so I was the owner of Ziggy's Bakery and Deli in South Asheville. And I met you when you came in for lunch one day to have one of my classic cheesesteaks. Ziggy's was a Philadelphia-inspired bakery and deli. And I had the restaurant for 4 years, just under 4 years. I had it with a co-owner, and it was very challenging. I opened the restaurant when I was 27. I was very young in the culinary game of my career, and I, to me, it was not my dream restaurant, but my first restaurant. And so I was working it, and I was building what I believed was my dream life. I was with the love of my life at the time, who was also my co-owner. And we had this restaurant together and we were running it. And I believed that we were building our legacy, our life. And as this mom and pop shop on the corner in South Asheville. And unfortunately, it did not go that well. Um, Even though we had worked together previously in other restaurants, we ended up, unfortunately, he ended up leaving me right after COVID. And we had opened 2018. COVID hit, we all know 2020, January. So about 15 months into the business, COVID hit. And we made it through, got the PPP loans, kept our staff, and it was amazing. We had lots of help from the community to keep our doors open, doing just takeout and curbside. And then my co-owner left me. And so I was completely devastated, heartbroken, and in a really bad state of denial. I didn't want to admit that we had broken up to any of our customers because our customers knew us as actually some of them referred to us as husband and wife mistakenly, and we were never married. And so it was very hard. So I lived a year of denial after that, where I didn't even admit to any of the customers that we had broken up. Only the staff knew. And I became the darkest, angriest person I had ever known myself to be. I started drinking more than ever. And there were times where I was actually drinking in the restaurant during work and out back during a cigarette break. And I was not proud of it. I was very, very lost, very depressed, to the point where I was also self-harming myself. And I was losing control on everything, didn't know which way was right, and completely lost in this depression. And it was either I started fantasizing driving my car into a tree on the way to work in the morning at 4 a.m. And it got to the point where, okay, I'm either going to drink myself to death or I'm going to do something that's going to hurt me or somebody else. So I finally decided to put my foot down. I said, enough's enough.
Yeah,
After a year of working with him as exes, which is a
that had
long
to have been
time.
hard, Ziggy. I can't
Yes.
imagine.
Yes. So after a year of working together as exes, I finally got the courage to fire him. I ran the business for an additional 6 months by myself, made it my happy place again, which was very exciting for me and full circle because I wanted to heal and mend within myself and within that restaurant. And so, and a lot of slowly I began to tell some customers and they kind of saw it. They saw the friction and they were there for me. And a lot of people supported me through it because before I thought I was alone. I was trapped in this really dark circle. So I stopped drinking and I made it my happy place again. And then I said, you know what? I'm closing these doors because as much as even though he's out of the picture, it's still a prison to me. I felt like I was chained to those four walls and I was serving everyone else but myself. And when you lose yourself like that and you are in that darkest spot, that's when true resilience actually begins because it's at your darkest point. It's not at a peak. A lot of people think, oh, it's at your peak and look at you, you're like thriving and doing all this stuff. You're so brave and resilient. But the resilience part actually is introduced in that yuck and the muck of the darkest spot because you have to take control and decide, make the deciding factor that this is not how you want to live anymore. And so I started doing different healing modalities. I started doing therapy, hypnotherapy, and working myself out of this angered stage, this depressive stage. And I have not been suicidal since, and that was back in 2022. So yeah, so right around that time, I've not been depressed or had that suicidal thoughts, and I've worked myself out of it. And I said, I'm 30 and I have so much more life to live, and I'm going to
Mhm.
start serving me and answering to me. So that's what I did. And then I closed
Amazing.
the restaurant.
Hmm. Yeah, I want to jump in real quick, Ziggy.
Of
First of
course.
all, I just learned a new phrase, yuck in the muck. I have never heard of that one. How clever.
Thanks.
I would like to acknowledge your journey because I've been married to an alcoholic. First marriage was an alcoholic, and I realized I couldn't change him, but I could change myself. So, no judgment because I understand that, people use the tools and resources as best as they can with what they know at the time. But you not only survived, you thrived. And also, we had had a chat beforehand. You also are a personal chef, and I believe you've worked and helped other people in the Asheville area. Is that right?
Yes. I
Yeah.
was after closing the restaurant, I did some traveling, and then when I got back into the workspace, I actually landed a position as the private chef to the Vanderbilt family, fifth generation.
Yes.
So that was wonderful opportunity. I was their private chef for just about a year. But then I said, even though it seemed like the dream job again, um, being the private chef to the Vanderbilts, America's historically wealthiest family.
Hmm.
But at the same time, I just knew I was still meant for more. So I decided to leave and start my journey. I left Asheville after 10 years, a lot of life lived there. Ironically enough, I started my life in Asheville working at the Biltmore and I ended with the Biltmore. So that was a cool full circle moment. And
Mm.
then, yeah, and then I left and I moved to Phoenix, Arizona to step into the large demographic of folks that need private chefs in the Scottsdale area.
Yeah, and you just served somebody this past week too, didn't you, out there? I mean, you're not wasting time. I think we need running shoes to keep up with you, gal.
Yep, yep. I just got done serving a family of eight, 5 days during the Christmas and New Year holiday. Served them a couple days casseroles, a buffet dinner, and then a four-course steak dinner. So I was really blessed to have that job and be hired by them. And they even are keeping my number for next year when they come back. So
There you go.
yeah.
So you've learned a lot from all these different experiences. I know there's somebody that's listening in that needs to hear your message today. When did you decide not to become what we would call in the life coach a victim of your circumstances and
Mm.
take action?
It was when I decided that I want and I need to get better. It's putting both of those two words together. Like, I know I need help. I know I want to be happy. How do I put them together? So the minute that I put my foot down and I said, I need to stop serving everyone else, literally when it came to the restaurant, but then also
Oh, I
just
could see
in
it. Yeah.
general, I was stop serving everyone else. I need to serve myself. So, and I want and I need to be happy. And that was really the turning point for me. It was finally choosing me, to put myself first, to silence all of the noise, not do what anyone was telling me to do, what I should or shouldn't do. It was going into myself and trying to figure out, am I living up to my potential and my happiest self and the best version of me? And at that time, I wasn't. And so I did everything, every decision I made consciously. I said, am I happy about this? Does it serve me? And am I doing this for me? So it was just these tiny little steps and changes in my consciousness in order to then allow it to fruition into this habitual cycle. So really it takes just knowing that you are always in control of your thoughts, and you are your consciousness. I love listening to Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he says that, 80% of your thoughts are repeated from your past. Your brain is a memory bank. It's a record of everything you've experienced and learned up until this moment. So you have every waking second of your day, every step to decide. You're making 35,000 choices a day. You literally get to decide, am I going left or am I going to step right? And so within that, keeping in the back of your mind, am I choosing myself today?
I'm so glad you brought up Dr. Joe because I love him too. I've seen him twice at conferences, and his work is just life-changing for everyone. So,
Yes.
Ziggy, did you have to get any support? I mean, you don't have to go into anything too personal. Did you get help with counseling moving forward, or did you do it yourself? Because I know people
Yes,
want to know that too.
absolutely. So when I knew that I was ready to put my foot down and make a change, and I wanted to make the restaurant my happy place again, I actually started doing hypnotherapy. It was just a quick passing thought in my brain for 10 seconds. It's something went through my brain and said hypnotherapy. So I Googled it, and it said that there's a 93% success rate for helping with anxiety and PTSD, which I've had a lot of that in my life, especially coming from unfortunately a pretty toxic upbringing with an alcoholic father. And so there's been a lot of bad narratives around my story ever since I was conditioned as a little girl. And so what I did was I started doing hypnotherapy, but what's really cool was that at the time, I had a friend move into my house after my co-owner left and we broke up, just to help me with rent. So I had a roommate. The only place that I could go to do my sessions was actually in Ziggy's on one of the days we were closed. So I actually was in my little lounge beach chair in the lobby of the dining area in Ziggy's, and I would be on Zoom doing these hypnotherapy sessions. And what was so powerful was the day and I remember the day, it was a day in August, I stepped into the restaurant and it was almost as if something had hit me, like something took a baseball bat and hit me in the gut. I got this gut terrible feeling that something was wrong. And so I followed that stream of consciousness and I figured out that he was being dishonest. And so that was actually the turning point of me firing him. And
Mm.
so it was just kind of like one thing after the other. So I started with hypnotherapy. I went really deep with that and I did that. And that was a great support for me, but also a rewiring of my brain and my conscious thoughts, to eliminate the self-doubt and the negative beliefs that I had in myself. And just even trying to work through different habits throughout your day.
Mhm.
So I did that for about 3 years. And then simultaneously, I started listening to one of Joe Dispenza's meditations every morning, which was talking about rewiring your brain every morning. And that it's just a memory, it's just built off of a memory of your past, and you have the ability to create your future and your reality. So I started doing that. And then I started working with a mentor, David Meltzer,
Mhm.
started listening to Ed Milet. So a lot of these coaches in the space of personal development, I started following, listening to them really habitually. And like, I almost refer to them as like, I'm going to my church
Oh, we
because,
get it. We get it
yep,
on
life
this end.
lessons.
Yeah. Hypnosis and hypnotherapy are powerful tools. I'll explain to some folks out there that may not be familiar with it. I've trained with Sarah Gawanter, who's a licensed mental health counselor, and I learned hypnosis. It's the same thing as hypnotherapy. The only difference is in North Carolina, and I don't know about in the other states, we are told that we can, as a hypnotist, I can say I'm a hypnotist consultant. I can't say I'm a hypnotherapist because therapist is a clinician. We get the same training, but
Mhm.
obviously you found somebody who helped you rewire your brain. I understand that. I follow that totally. Well,
And
going forward,
he's actually in North Carolina, but we did
is he?
everything over Zoom, which was
Yeah.
so crazy. A lot of people were so skeptical whenever I talked about it. They were like, "He actually got you to like go under Zoom," and I'm like, "Yeah." There's
I
an
love
anchor.
it. You
There's
know
different
why?
tools that they do it. So yeah,
I love it. And the reason why is I've done it on the phone for family members that were scared to drive over a big bridge. And they didn't think it would work, and it did work. And so, yeah, thanks for going into that. I mean, because it could be done in person, it could be
Mhm.
done on the phone, it could be done by Zoom. I'm sure Google Meet and 100 million other ways. Um,
Yeah,
Obviously,
and
you had good trust and bonding because if you didn't, you could have probably said, nope, not going to go there and keep
and so
yourself from being
exactly.
hypnotized.
Exactly. And I'll go back to one of my main points that when you asked about the resilience piece, I told myself that, and I told this clinician, I said, I want and I need this to work. And it was just those two phrases. I want and I need this to work. So I told him, I said, hey, as you're coaching me through this and we're doing these sessions, will you please also explain it to me as if I'm your student? Because I want to fully understand this. So that way I grasp the fuller picture of understanding how this can work to the best of its ability to help me. And so I think it was with that I wanted and I needed it to work and it did for me. And I truly do believe that when you make those sort of declarations towards bettering yourself and helping yourself, um, and you make it that a relentless pursuit, it's going to work in your favor. It just takes consistency and it takes dedication to moving through the hard stuff, to choosing your level of hard. Do you want to be suffering or do you want to face it and face the adversity and see where you come out on the other side? Because through all that that dark yuck, which is like your mud and yuck, you're gonna bloom into this beautiful flower on the other side.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And thank you for being transparent, authentic, and just being raw, Ziggy, because there's other
Thank
people
you.
out there. We're living in times where there's so much polarity. People are so extra sensitive. There's division out there. And yet you're saying, I've gone through all this betrayal and having to leave and all these life transitions, and yet you're not surviving, you're thriving. Have you had any stumbles along the way where you felt like you weren't going to make it?
Oh, yes. Many nights crying and am I making the right decisions? What did I do? I'm not going to lie, there's been times within my new business. So I'm out here in Phoenix, Arizona, and I just started my new company called Connected Kitchens back in May and 2025. And I already like there's been a little few doubts and little things like was it the right decision to move across the country to a city who I don't know anybody? And I'm trying to build a support and a community out here. Was it right to leave the Vanderbilt family? That was a consistent paycheck, and here now I'm fighting and outside trying to make my way through the sales aspect of
Mhm.
um, promoting myself. It's interesting. It's a different type of business. Whereas I was selling a tangible product before, now I have to sell myself. And it's like a client-based service. And so doing the private chefing, so I have to go out here and I have to promote and sell myself. And just, I've had a lot of turnover. There's a lot of people that want it and then they stop after 2 weeks. And whether it's financial or they have something else going on, I've had to fire a client or two. And so it's just, I've had a lot of turnover. And so a paycheck isn't guaranteed for me right now because I haven't built up the systems to have consistent clients at this moment. So again, and then of course, I'm happy when I get a private dinner, but those are, you never know when those can come through. I can be lucky and have maybe four a month, and sometimes I only have one. So it just depends. So. But yeah, there's so it is difficult, but I do know that no matter what, if I just keep putting one foot in front of the other, it is going to work out. It's already written for me.
Absolutely. What I heard you say, Ziggy, is in different words, you had boundaries. That's a worthy subject. You said you had to fire clients. We're not going to say their names, but what happened? I mean, why did you not take their money or what happened?
So unfortunately, I will say at the end of the day, it comes back to me. So whatever we put out into the world comes back to us, and it's a lesson for us to learn. Now, it's not about what the gentleman did to me. It's about how did I fail setting up my systems along this process. So what I realized was I didn't have a contract with him. I
Mm,
took his
okay.
word because he was a friend in a new community that I had joined. I joined a club of entrepreneurs and business owners alike. And so I started promoting my meal prep, my weekly meal prep. And so he was a client who wanted to have meal prep done every single week. I was cooking him food and delivering him food. And I took, because of the status of the club that I joined, I believed that he had the money to pay me. So I never had a contract with him. So he said, "Oh, one of my cards was the one card that he needed to pay me was declined. So he was waiting for the new, or not declined, it was what it was compromised. So he was
Oh,
waiting for the new card. And so I took his word for it. Again, in order to be a member of this club, you had to pay a monthly premium. And so I assumed that he had the money. Well, because I didn't have us in a contract, he refused to pay me and I was out $900. And that was on me because I continued to take his word. I trusted him and I
mhm.
still provided services for 3 weeks.
Oh my
So,
God, that must have been a punch in the gut. And I can personally say I've been
yeah.
through similar stories. You know
Yep.
what? Going forward, Robyn, what do you want to put out in the world? Are you looking, you're talking about, I'm calling you going back Ziggy and Robyn, but what do you want to put out in the world right now? Do you prefer to be a personal chef and or catering mostly? What kind of work are you looking for as you're thriving out there in Phoenix, Arizona?
Yes. So as of right now, I'm pretty much offering three services. What I know I can make immediate revenue with, which is private chef dinners. So if you want to have a double date, or you're celebrating a birthday or an anniversary, or hiring me for a holiday, so those types of private dinners, and then also the weekly meal prep. So that is the work that I am seeking jobs for right now, and then also in addition. On the side, I am, or in the background, I should say, I am building systems and a program that is going to help better connect people to their kitchen. So, going off of the name of my business, Connected Kitchens, my ultimate purpose and journey here is to help better connect individuals, not only physically with their skill set, but mentally with their mindset when it comes to them facilitating their own meal prep in their kitchen. And I believe that that is something that a lot of people in this country and in the world actually suffer with.
I have to
And
I have to agree because I didn't grow up wanting to cook. My father taught me how to cook, and it was simple things. It was my mom that had me out in the garden mowing grass and picking vegetables and such. I can see you out there helping other people. Now, what if there's somebody out there that's listening in or hears about you and they're willing to send you who knows to Alaska for a week and they pay for all expenses? Is that something you're also including in your life? And your business?
absolutely, absolutely. Fly me anywhere. I'm there.
Okay, well, if you go to Alaska and need a little help, I'll be your grunt worker, I promise.
Sounds good.
So as we get toward the end of our conversation, you've been through so much. I mean, there's more than we're able to have time for somebody who's really struggling out there, trying to be strong to get through whatever it is. Maybe they've been betrayed, maybe they've been recently divorced, they're going through hard times, they can't pay for groceries. Where do they start? And this is your opinion.
So, and I'll take this from one of my And what's actually interesting is this is one of my most recent exercises that I was just tested with from somebody who I work with as a self-mastery coach is write down the script of the future you, write down the movie script of the life that you want to be living. What would it sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? And use your imagination. The way that I actually got myself into a mode to be ready to write that was I said to myself, I am calm and slow to flow. So I calmed my brain. I just got within myself. I just took a lot of deep breaths. And again, a lot of people, it might sound frou-frou for some people, but nervous system regulation is a absolute true thing. And so what you want to do is you want to take a couple deep breaths and focus on calming your mind, slow down your thoughts, and then to let your creativeness flow. And so then I started writing, I'm writing out what my life is going to look like.
Mhm.
And I, and even just as something as simple as that, you put it down onto paper, it's going to start to manifest. And you're also going to think about it more because it's so forward on your conscious state right now. So I think that there's a huge issue with the way that us as adults and in today's world where we've lost our creativity. A lot of people say, "Oh, I'm not creative. Oh, I'm not intelligent." It's no, you are these things. What's happened is that everybody believes that they're broken and there's something to fix in us, and we've broken off into all these little pieces. All you have to do is work on understanding and learning each of those pieces to come back to the core to know, oh, this is who I've always been. Here I am. I've just been broken and fragmented in so many places that I was lost and there was too much chaos. So to slow down, work through those pieces, those tough things, and face those pieces of you that make you feel like you've spun out of control, that you're in this spiral of doom, and to then go back in and say, okay, what do I want? What does the 5-year-old me want? And what does the 80-year-old me want to be proud of that I did? And it's thinking about those two. It's like make those two people proud. Make the 5-year-old you and the 80-year-old you proud.
No, I love it. And I've heard very similar stories to that. And as we're running out of time, I do want to have the folks that are listening in, and we'll also have this available on YouTube, to know how to reach you if they have questions. They may be inspired by you and want to reach out to you, or maybe they want to contact you because I would hire you in a second if you were in Asheville. I didn't know all that when I first met you, that
Yes.
you cooked, you chef for the Vanderbilt family. I love it because I worked at the Biltmore back about 18 years ago. I decorated Christmas 2 seasons. I was seasonal, and it was a magical time working there. So I can imagine working with the family was really neat and exciting.
It was.
Yeah. How to get a
And
hold
what
of
was really cool was a lot of their friends and family actually knew me from the restaurant as well, because my restaurant was actually very close to their house. So,
that is so. Yeah. How do people find you?
oh yes, so they can find me on my Instagram, Robyn Robyn dot V as in Victoria dot Ziegler Ziegler. You can also email me at Robyn Robyn at myconnectedkitchens.com.
That is so
And
exciting.
yeah,
Well, I'd love for you to come back again. You are very resilient and you have
thank
so
you.
many great stories. And, people, when they survive, that's major. But when people are out there thriving and doing great and sharing their stories, it opens up stories elsewhere that people know they need to get help or resources. Maybe they need some hypnosis, hypnotherapy. Maybe they need a good coach. So thank you so much for that, Ziggy, for being
You're
so
welcome.
about your struggles and how you've gotten through it. We appreciate it. The ending, I'm Dawn Marie Westmoreland coming from Asheville, North Carolina, WPVM FM 103.7 LP, Radio Asheville. We air every Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time Zone because it's syndicated on Pacifica Network. You may get to see and hear us at a different time. Stay empowered. We'll see you next time. Ziggy, thank you. Be
Thank
well.
you,
We
Dawn.
wish you all the best in Arizona, and I know you're going to succeed because you
Thank
have.
you very much. Thank you.